it's Sophie Uren. I'm so excited to show you my journal ecosystem, or all the journals that I use, all the paper products I use in my life, both daily and throughout the weeks and months, that help keep me organized, help me keep me productive and motivated to reach my goals as a business owner, as a human, as a writer. I have a number of notebooks. I don't use all of them all the time. I use some of them in specific ways, so that it's not overwhelming and so that I can stay focused and just check things off of a list sometimes. But this allows room for creativity and inspiration and magic, as well as getting things done. And I'm excited to show you some things that also have saved me money. So if you enjoy paper products but do have a budget to keep in mind, then some of these ideas might be good for you to consider as well. So let's dive into it. Just so you know, I am like 7 months pregnant right now. So please forgive any imperfections that you see in this video. I'm running unlimited juice right now, and I just really want to get this out there. So forgive me if it is not perfect, but hopefully good enough to show you some things that might inspire you in working with your journal or notebooks as well. So here's the full stack of what I'm using that is paper right now. I do also use things on my computer that I really love using every day, but that will be something for another video that I will call like my digital second brain, okay? But this is an important part of my life. The paper. I love all this stuff, and I'll show you how it's not overwhelming, it's not overcomplicated, and it's also not expensive to use these in different ways in my life. So I will explain how I use everything. So I'm going to talk about this piece a little bit later, but let me just go like in order of importance, okay? So the very most important one is this one, that's the green one here. This could be like any salt and pepper notebook. I love this kind of notebook that's just like this shape that has this kind of side, because it can allow me to flip around. You know, if I wanted to flip this like this, I do treat these do get beat up like in bags and backpacks and stuff historically. So you can get things like this. I got this for 50 cents at Staples at Office Depot. So I was right around the beginning of the school year, and I bought several of them because it was so cheap. But I've also spent like $10 on a higher end version that was recycled paper and eco-friendly and had art inside and stuff. So I've run the gamut on like $10-ish is about how much I would spend on a notebook style like this, because this is a journal. This is something that I'm going to be writing in every single day. And lately I have been, I have been adding stickers to things lately, like just regular stickers. This is a sticker book I got at a book sale. And then this one is one I actually printed on a brand new thermal printer I have. It doesn't require any ink, and it prints on sticker paper, so you can put stuff in there. So I've been having a lot of fun, like making my own stickers and printing out quotes and stuff like that. I don't want to show you my journal because it is like pretty personal, but show you the edge so you can see. I have many pages filled out in this, and this is something I come to every day. So I'll start the day, write the date, and then I will just kind of go with what I feel like I need to say. I've also been challenging myself every day to try to use a journal prompt, like a question, something for inspiration, because I find that just helps get my creative juices going, and it's like a nice way to get an easy win and just do that. I think as a writer for many years, I've just been kind of writing stream of consciousness, like whatever comes to mind, but it helps to have a little bit of structure with a prompt and things like that. And I just find that if I have a good question and a good prompt to go on, then what that can spark can be really interesting. So it's worth it to look into prompts, maybe create a list for yourself that you can pull from and use. So that's something I use every day. That's my journal. And that was the very first notebook that I ever had. I started with that kind of notebook many, many years ago, several decades ago. And I'll just go in order of ones that I started to use after that. So the other kind of book I have is just a regular date planner. So this has like appointments, and it's just, you know, a little space for each day. This will be where I put appointments that are date related. And actually, when I bought this, I put little words that were inspirational in throughout it. If you've never thought of doing that, if you buy a date planner or something, you can just take a little time to customize it and put some little inspirational words. And when you do roll around to that part of the year, you probably will have forgotten that you wrote that. So it's just a nice little treat to have some little reminders. So that's something that I have. I don't use Google Cal. I always use paper. And yeah, can't believe it's almost the end of 2025. So anyway, so day planner, essential. The next thing isn't really essential, but it is fun. This is a traveler's notebook. I bought this years ago. So by the way, probably the most like this is something I've had for years. So I bought this cover once. It's a leather cover, and inside are traveler's notebooks, individual notebooks that you can pop in and out by hanging them on these little strings. It's a really cool system to allow you to just invest once in a cover. This probably was $100 originally. It is made of real leather, and I got customized this cranberry color and some little charms. It says Sophia on it. It's got a little mermaid my friend gave me, and a little cup of tea, and it just wraps around it. Hey, this is Sophia. While she's editing, I just wanted to add that if you are starting something new, like trying a traveler's notebook for the first time or trying a Ringbound notebook for the first time, just buy a cheap one from like Office Depot, Staples, Amazon, and see if you like it. And then if you do, then you can invest in something in the $50 to $100 range and use it for years to come. But only do that when you've actually shown yourself that you will use the thing and it is worth it for you to do that, and you have the means to do that. You can buy less expensive versions of what I'm using for like 20 bucks and or less, and give it a shot. Use it. That could be enough for you. I just have put so much use into these things that I know that it will be worth it for me to invest a little bit and use it for years to come. So this is for what I use this for now, and I could always change the purpose of it, is I use it for tarot readings. So I love the tarot, and I give myself tarot readings like almost every day, and I will put I'll put notes in here about what I pulled, and I have more on like other kinds of readings and stuff, and notes about what's going on in my life in here. So yeah, so I've had notebooks that I've been filling for several years now, and it's really fun to go back and look at this. And it's just like a nice little thing. I can just like open it up. I keep the pen where I was last and just like update it and then like close it up. So I don't really spend a lot of time in here, but I do touch it every day or two, and it feels really good. It's just like a really good tactile little way to keep all my tarot readings in one place. So I've had this for several years now, maybe a decade, I don't know. And it's not expensive because I just bought it once and it just lasts forever. I just can take the notebooks in and out, and one notebook generally lasts me a few years, one of these little things, because of the way that I use it. So very, very good investment. All right, and so then after that, the next thing that I started using was this Ringbound notebooks. We're going to get into the Ringbound area. Is this one. So I actually have changed the cover of this recently to be this nice brown. It used to be purple, and I've made a video about this one. It had a fairy behind it before, but I've switched out some of the details. But the idea of this planner became a thing about a year ago in 2024. Commonplace book is what I was calling it. And because it is rings, you can take pages in and out. You can pop these out and swap them out and pop them back in. So what I have in here, I have tabs. So I have weekly reviews, monthly, seasonal, and yearly reviews, a Commonplace section. This one says business, notes on my business, and then I've got things on myself and classes. So this is just this became a place for me to keep track of things that go beyond one journal. So my problem was that I had so many of these journals eventually, because each one would kind of like last for 3 months or so, that things were getting lost. Like I would put a journal on the shelf, start a new one, and the stuff from the old one wasn't really getting utilized the way it could, which is also why I have a journal, a digital archive that I will get into in another video. But I was finding that the digital archive is super valuable, and I do want to give it its own space and video and time to talk about, but not having a way to communicate with myself on paper about more permanent things, more long-term things, and just having this notebook was making me feel a little bit crazy, making me feel a little scattered. So that's where this came in, so that I could really start to look with the eagle's eye view at everything going on in my life and make conclusions and learn and set goals and have information that I could refer back to for a longer period of time, and like build and really build, and not just like build something up in a notebook and then put it away, but to build something up in a notebook that I then review and revisit and continue to circulate in and think in for a very long time. So now I've been doing this now for over a year, and it's been going good. So I've called this my Get Fired book, my Commonplace book, and I do have a video about it. I have several videos where I have talked about this. So I'll put them in the description if you're interested in that. But that was the beginning of having like a Ringbound, and what I would do is sometimes I would like print things off of my digital archive notes. Sometimes I would type something out from my journal and print it out and put it in here, or just transfer it by hand. I started doing weekly reviews where I would review what happened the last week, including kind of look back at my journals and stuff. And I was really starting to learn and refer to things. And yeah, I just loved it. So I've really enjoyed this. I think having a binder or something ring bound is great, because then you can move the order around. Unlike, a journal is just strictly linear. I'm not going to move pages around. But I can take words out of that, put it in here, put it on my computer, whatever works better for me. And basically like try to extract things from this, so that way when this is done, it's kind of just done. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like my goal is for these eventually to be digitally archived or organized in other places, so that if I were to lose this, throw it away, have it have water damage, I wouldn't care. So I'm not trying to be super attached to these, because I literally have boxes of them now from keeping them for decades, and it's very easy to misplace one or lose one, or it's just too many for me to drag around for the rest of my life. So I do enjoy the process of keeping it. They do contain precious memories, but it is my goal to extract those and have them backed up somewhere else, because these are just way too fragile and numerous for me to keep them around all the time. So, all right. And then after that, I decided that one of my goals is to spend more time kind of on myself, spend more time on my relationship with myself, some more time on my personal life. And so I wanted to have a space that was just dedicated to that. This is a Ringbound planner that's a little smaller. It's a little bit easier to journal in something of this size. I wanted to pull out certain kinds of journaling that were really about like connecting with my soul and just just on a different level, I was really inspired by internal family systems. If you've ever read anything about that, I read a book called Intro to Internal Family Systems. It was really good. And that made me want to keep a book that was just kind of doing work around that. So I would look that up if you're at all interested in healing or connecting to yourself in a greater way. And so that's why I made this. This is from Jane's Agenda, this cover and this insert here with the leaves. And then I have dividers. In here I have like some prompts that I have that are all around certain goals I have. I have places where I'm like journaling to myself, writing letters to myself. I have notes on this whole concept of internal family systems and different parts that I have within myself, because I am very complex, so I have many different parts, and I wanted a place to connect to those parts, all my parts. So yeah, I would look that up if you've never heard of internal family systems. It's amazing, but that's what this book is for. And then since that is just so personally oriented and more like introspective, I wanted one that was more work. So this is one that is for work. Whoops, it's upside down. Again, this is covers from Jane's Agenda, as is this inside one. I love anything fall related, and it's October right now. So this one is one I made to work. So I have a couple businesses right now, and I just needed a place to put things because like there's some very long-term goals at play that are work related that I just wanted to pull out and have a place for those. And so I have not only like information about all of those things in the tabs, but I also have to-do lists, and I want to show you a blank one. So I have a bunch of these blank ones just because I didn't want to show you what I'm actually doing right now. But yeah, I have different to-do lists. I actually have a sheet that's like everything for the month, all of my main monthly goals, so kind of like short, like 2 things I would love to get done in the next 2 to 4 weeks. I have one sheet that's just like everything. And then within the tabs, I have information about specific projects that are really complex. So let's say a project for my business has like 10 steps to start an email newsletter for something. So that's all in here. And I might not get through it this week or next week, but it will take time. And so I can check off each step as I go. So this has been really great. And it's been more like doing things like to-dos, worksheets with the whole projects. So this is for work. This is for inner work and being with my soul. This is for getting the bird's eye view, staying motivated on things in general, making sure I'm staying on track. Big picture, over the course of like, years. This is like lots of big thinking across all life and work, and then it kind of gets like more specific into life, more specific into work when I'm like ready to do the work itself. This is for like overview and planning and just making sure I'm on track. This is for getting stuff done, and this is for like me time, introspection, healing work. Okay, and so the last piece is something I've added recently, which is just very simple. It kind of started with just Post-its, but then I decided, you know what, I don't really feel like paying for Post-its. So I just used paper that I used one side of it and cut it up into like a little convenient size. And so throughout my day, I'll have a list. This is like an older one, and I'll cross things off and, you know, check it off, and I'll know that it's done. And then at the end of the day, I'll copy over what needs to be done the next day onto I can throw this away, and then let me just get rid of it, and then I have my next thing. So like if I'm like, I don't know what to do, well, I have all these other lists in here. Worst case, I can go to my weekly review, my monthly review, my seasonal review, big picture, I can check in with those. Or I have done the work already of spelling out kind of a short-term list of priorities for the next 2 weeks. Those are habits I have that help me, but then they become action because I'm really specific about like, okay, today this is what has to get done. And I notice there's a lot of space here. Okay, I can go into my list of like what I want to do this month, this week, the next couple weeks, and I can pick out a few action items to put on my list for today. And if they don't get done today, then we'll move them on to tomorrow. And that's kind of like, so then I don't get overwhelmed because I just look at this when I'm like in go mode. And if I leave the house, I pop it in my purse and I take it, and I can attach a shopping list or something. So this is what I will look at the most when I'm really working. But if I feel lost, that's when I will go into one of these notebooks to ground myself, orient myself, remind myself where I am, and copy over the things that feel like most urgent and important to get done immediately. And then I'll just put these big ones away. We'll get rid of those, and we'll just focus on this guy to avoid overwhelm or confusion and just check things off. Just be in that mode. But I find that the biggest challenge is when I don't know what I'm doing next, or I'm like, there's so many things I could do next. So that's why I've created this system where most of the time I'm just focusing on a few things at a time. And when I'm not sure what I'm going to do, I've made other places for me to go check my priorities and what I'm working on to kind of go refill the task list. And whenever that I'm like really confused and none of these notebooks are helping me, that means I really just need to spend like an hour or two kind of going through them in more depth and make a new list of like, this is the goal for the next 2 to 4 weeks, which is what I'm keeping in here. So, but you know, I kind of have a cycle of like doing a weekly review, which actually is more like every 2 weeks, doing a monthly review or a seasonal review every 3 months, have a yearly review every year, and kind of this cycle of like every so often I do a deep dive of just listing all my goals and everything I want to get done. And then from there, I can periodically, you know, every month or every 2 weeks or so, just kind of check back on like, okay, what was the like top thing to get, what's next? And like, I always have something to kind of refer back to of like where I was, what I was thinking. And then I always create these little moments where I go to a cafe or I take a couple hours to just like plan and like dream and decide what I need to do for the future, both looking back and looking forward. So I have a lot of co-working things. If you want to go through that process with me, I have those recorded on YouTube. I have lots of co-working sessions where you can do those kind of processes with me, especially if you're just looking at like, what do I need to get done this week? Then those might really help you. So that can illustrate a little bit more like step by step what kind of thing I'm doing. And then I take that information and I put it into what are we doing today? So that's it. That's the whole thing. So yeah, so that's my system. That's what I'm doing. That's what's working for me. I know it seems like a lot of notebooks. I'm not in all of them all the time. On a daily basis, I'm mostly just reading my journal, checking my calendar, using my little to-do list, and then the others I pop into as feels fun or helpful for me, and they're there. But I definitely am like touching them all within like a 1 to 2 week period. I use all of them at some point. But the beautiful thing about all of them, aside from the journals, which are highly like, I run through them every 3 months, and the yearly schedule book, which only lasts a year. The other things, the traveler's notebook and the Ringbound journals, they can last forever because I can just take the pages out and replace them with more. And so that's really great to be able to kind of have a way to be very, very notebook oriented, have a lot of notebooks, but not spend like zillions of dollars on them. And, yeah, I just think that's kind of something underrated because there's a lot of people selling stuff out there that are like $50 a notebook or something. And And then people end up buying like 5 different ones. And I'm just not in a place in my life where that's what I want to spend all my money on. When I am really rich, I will totally maybe do that. But I like that I don't have to, because this is a habit I want to sustain over decades, and it's a lot easier to sustain when it doesn't cost a lot of money. So I just wanted to show my system and just point that out, that these are things that I can reuse. Ringbound journals are great for that. The Traveler's Notebook is great for that. And just buying a really cheap salt and pepper notebook at the dollar store or wherever is good. You can use this. It's not, not worth passing over just because it's cheap. Okay, so that's what I will stop there. I hope that you enjoyed this. Let me know what you thought of this video. And yeah, I hope to make another one about my digital stuff that I have in addition to all of this. Yes, I still have more things because digital and paper both have pros and cons, but I really love having all this paper stuff. So big hugs to you. Thanks for watching. Bye.